Forgot to hit record, but okay, so I'm so excited to talk about the three W's. You might be wondering, what are the three W's? And I'm going to share about that tonight. Why they matter in leadership and why they matter in taprooting. So taprooting is one of my most favorite things. I think it is an important skill. It's an important part of this business and this industry. And so I am taking my call and my training tonight based on some things that I've learned from a lady by the name of Leslie Boyd Bradley. I found her, I was told about her through my teammate, Amber Tillinghast. So a little bit about Leslie. She has been involved in the direct sales industry for years and years and years and years. She built a large Tupperware business many, many years ago. She had family that was in the, not ownership, worked with the owners of Tupperware and that kind of thing to help them to have the right organizational things and put out the right promos and things for the teams and the downlines. And that was super, super critical to a lot of what happened with Tupperware, why it's still around today, right? And then she actually did end up going into Senegence and working with them on the corporate side as well and helping them. And so she's super, super knowledgeable. And then I'm also taking some of this from a book called Direct Sales from Amway to Zombies by Randy Gage. I was told about him through Sam Higginson, and he was involved in a few direct sales companies. I believe he was even involved in the company, I'm not 100% sure about this, that the Bradleys were part of before Zaya, which is pretty cool. And then just some of my own thoughts and takes on this topic. So the three W's are specifically from Leslie, and she did this awesome training for a group of us over the summer that I was a part of. And one of the things that she talked to me about, and we still talk about, I've actually been doing some personal one-on-one coaching with her. And some things that we actually still talk about are the three W's, even still in my calls with her. And I'm like, okay, if it's important enough for her to talk to me about this, it's really important. I've been doing a few coaching calls this last week and today, and just really trying to dive into some teammates and some teams that are having some great growth. And every person I've talked to, I've shared about the three W's. Now, I was going to do a really cute PowerPoint presentation. Didn't happen. So unfortunately, you just get to see my face. Hopefully, you're not too visually, hopefully you can learn without having a visual aid in front of you and you can just listen. But a couple of things that we talk about as well when I chat with her is basically like a business temperature check. So this is really important when you want to be a leader, when you are a leader. And you're wanting to grow. So you have to kind of take a temperature check of your life and your personal business and yourself, right? So what defines a leader? I'm going to talk about that first. Who is a leader, right? Is it only somebody with the downline? No, not necessarily. You have to learn how to lead yourself first. And I've said this from day one. You're a leader to yourself, whether or not your team is doing anything at all. It is super, super important that you are leading yourself before you expect anything of anyone. And really, you can't really expect anything from anybody. This is their business. This is their opportunity. Everybody's been given the same starter kit. What each of us does with that starter kit is entirely dependent on the person. So first, learn to lead yourself before you can really go out and lead others, right? So the first question I want you to ask yourself is, how is my family doing? Are they supportive of your business? Are they feeling like maybe you're spending too much time on it? Are they a part of the vision of it? Do they understand that when mom or, my wife does X, Y, or Z, it's because of these certain goals? So over the last 3 months, I set it as a goal that I was going to earn this bonus because I really wanted to add to my front line. I wanted to show up. I wanted to make sure that I kept my sword sharp, as far as like, I wanted to make sure that I was still in the game, that I was still applicable, like what I was sharing and teaching was applicable, or however you want to say that word, to my teammates. And that I wasn't just speaking like, oh, I did X, Y, and Z a year ago, so it's still working today, because who knows, right? Everything in life changes so fast, especially with social media. So one, how is your family doing? Over the last 3 months, it was a grind, because it was a grind. Like, it's not easy doing the 3x2500. You really do have to get out there and work this business. And I remember at one point, Jordan was like, you have been on your phone so much. And I was like, I know, because I'm trying to hit this goal. Like, I am working so hard. And I was finally like, hey, you know what? If you want to send people my way too, honey, like, go ahead. And like, so he was helping, he was doing things. That's like, I can't just, be a solo train at this point. Like, whoever you want to talk to, that's awesome as well. So, do a temperature check, right? And so at that point, when Jordan had said that to me, I was like, okay, he's right. I do need to be more mindful of when I'm on my phone, how often I'm on my phone, making sure that I'm present, especially on my day. My one day that I really try to take off, no matter what, is Sunday. I'll still do some things on Saturday, but I really do try to take Sunday off. So the next question is, how do I feel about my biz right now? If you are not loving your business, it's a temperature check. Why aren't you loving it? What's going on with it? If you're not in love with it, I'm going to challenge you to fall back in love with your Zaya business. I want you to get back to the emotions and the behaviors that helped you to fall in love with this business. So every once in a while, I'll find myself in a funk, feeling like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to do X, Y, or Z. And then I think to myself, I get to do X, Y, or Z. I get to go live. I get to share these products. I love this brand. So I pump myself up about the clothes, whatever that looks like. I pump myself up about a teammate or some exciting things that are happening on my team. Okay. The third one is, am I happy or satisfied with where I am versus where I'd like to be? So if you're happy with the rank you're at, that is awesome. And I don't think it's ever right for an upline to, tell you otherwise. It's never right or okay for a downline to make you feel bad that you're happy with your current spot, whatever that looks like, right? So, but if you're not happy where you're at and you want to grow, what are you doing that is or is not helping you to get there? And you cannot blame your team for that. The only person you can blame is yourself. You cannot look at a downline. You cannot look at teams and say, because of them, I'm not hitting my goals. You need to look inwards and make sure you're doing the work as well. The fourth one is, do I have the team I need to get, or excuse me, do I have the team I need to get to where I want to go? So I can promise you that it's going to be very challenging to hit double Zaya executive if you've only sponsored 5 people. It's going to be really hard to hit higher ranks having only sponsored, let's say you're trying to go for executive, 10 people. Now, maybe you did get to some of those ranks with 10 people and you sponsored aces out of the gate. I'm going to say that there's a really good chance that the people you sponsored are going to possibly not have that same experience. And so you're going to have to know how to help them and how to overcome that. So I know for me personally, I've sponsored over 120 people into Zaya since I started. And I'm always still asking people if they want to join Zaya. Okay. I love sharing this brand. I probably will never stop sharing this opportunity, even when I don't have to. I don't even have to, but I love sharing Zaya with people. I love this opportunity. I love what goes into this. So those are the 4 questions you need to ask yourself. Okay. And then I also want you to think, why do you want to rank or grow? Is it a financial decision? Is it a status decision? Is it, you just feel like when you hit that rank, like it's all going to be made? Because I can promise you, when you hit those higher ranks, life just doesn't all of a sudden turn into like easy street. Okay. The bigger the team, sometimes the bigger the problems, the bigger the things that are challenging can happen. So if you're willing to take that on and wanting to take that on, it's awesome, right? There's a huge blessing that definitely comes with that as well. It's not all just like, oh, it's a challenge, right? I love the blessing that comes from having the team that I have and the people that I get to work with. It's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about the 3 W's and taprooting. These two actually go really hand in hand. So the 3 W's are willing, wanting, and working. You need to have all 3 of those in someone before you're going to go. And I don't like saying the word waste your time because I don't think it's a waste, but before you go and spend your time with them. So maybe someone is working and they're selling, and they really want to hit director, but they're not very coachable. I'm going to have a hard time wanting to go and spend my time with that person if they're not willing to take my advice, take maybe some criticism, take some coaching. I'm not going to be willing to really go in there. So willing also goes along the lines with coachable, like they're ready to learn, they're ready to, to do what needs to be done and not do it maybe based off what they think. Okay. There's a reason why leaders say certain things or say, you should do things XYZ. It's because we've kind of gone around the block. And if you really want to try something because you really want to try it, I'm probably going to let you do it. And then you're going to come back and you're going to say, why did I do this? Okay. I had that experience with something that I just did in my team. And my coach, Sam, said, don't do this, Natalie. And I was like, well, I'm still going to do it. And sure enough, it did not work the way I wanted it to, like he said. And I was like, gosh, that was really bad. I was not willing, I was not coachable at that point. It was really bad. So if someone is not working, you are not going to go and spend your time with them. And it's not because you don't love them, but it's because this is also a business. I love that this business is very female oriented, but I also feel like sometimes it can be harder because we take things really personally. Sometimes with men in the business world, and somebody's probably going to disagree with me on this, and that's totally fine, but men don't typically let their feelings get hurt by what someone writes to them in an email or text them. They're like, oh, whatever. I'm not going to stress about that. Or they, maybe they just typed it wrong or whatever. But women, we tend to be more emotional. And so we tend to take things way more personal. We tend to hold on to grudges and we tend to do all those things just a little bit more. And so I'm really going to challenge you to think about, do I do the 3 W's? Am I willing, coachable? Do I want to grow and rank? And am I working? And if I'm not doing all 3 of those things, I can't get upset that things aren't going the way that I want them to in my business. Okay. So, some keys that I look for as far as working is a 1 by 1,000, which is 1 new teammate and 1,000 in PV in 1 month. I also consider working someone doing over 600 PV. So what I do is I reach out and I ask questions. Okay. I try not to tell or put things on people. I feel like I've learned a lot, and I've probably done these things in the past as a leader and made a lot of mistakes. I probably still do things that are mistakes. Actually, I know I do often. So, but I'm trying to learn through each mistake that I make and everything wrong that I do. So, you want to spend your time and energy where you're going to be rewarded for it, especially as your teams grow. So sometimes people get really upset because they're like, well, my frontline's not working. Or, I only have to a level 2 on this team and they're only selling $600. My first question is, do the people on your second level know you who are working? Have you ever reached out to them? Have you ever had a conversation with them? There's a few ways to taproot as well. Some people prefer to do like a 3-way, like, hey, let's pull this lady who's working and her upline and let's all chat and help her to grow. Does that work? Yes, 100%. I also feel like it's very beneficial to send positive, encouraging messages like, hey, Sarah, you had a great month last month. Oh my gosh, I am so proud of you. You have an amazing upline in Sandra. She is so grateful for you. She appreciates everything that you do so much. We're so excited to watch you continue to grow. Is there anything that you feel like you need help with or you would like to troubleshoot with us about? That is a way to reach down, build a connection, and still include the upline. Now, if you're known for being negative or talking bad about downlines, this method that I just talked about won't work, because the upline that wasn't a part of the conversation will wonder, well, what did she message you? What did Natalie message you about? Like, what was she saying? Was she saying stuff about me? So you have to watch what you say and speak and what you put out into your teams, not just what you say and speak into your teams, but what you say and speak about your teams out loud and about Zaya. So hopefully this is making sense. I'm feeling a little scattered all of a sudden. So when you're looking at your teams, your front line, your second line, your third line, they might not be leaders. You might have to go into a level 5 or a level 3 to work with someone who is the 3 W's. And that is just the way this works. So don't get hung up that you have someone on your front line who isn't working this business. Okay. Don't get hung up on it. If they have sponsored someone who has sponsored someone, you go down and you build that relationship and you see, are they willing? Do they want to be coached? Do they want to rank? If they don't want to hit senior rep, if they don't want to hit director, is it really worth your time? If they're just happy selling and enjoying the products, awesome. Okay, great. We're so happy you're here, a part of Zaya and on the team. That's awesome. If that ever changes, let me know, right? That's the kind of conversation I have. If Zaya is ever on your radar for rank advancing and hitting the higher ranks, I would love to help you. I'm here for you as an upline. Okay. And then working, right? So they're obviously going to work. They want to sell the clothes. They want to, enjoy the discount or whatever it is, but they don't want to be coached and they don't want a team. So hopefully that's making sense as I'm talking about the 3 W's and going in depth. So, I often, I'm trying to do this more often. The last 3 months, I really focused on my front line, my personal business. I was really working on parties and finding new teammates for my front line and growing my customer base and that kind of stuff over the last 3 months. So I wasn't working my teams and in depth as much. So this month, my focus has been this month, my focus is on my team, and next month is on my team going down and making those connections and making sure I have those relationships down specific legs. Okay. Another thing that I want you to keep in mind is the third. A third of your team, maybe that's frontline, maybe it's your entire team of 100 people, maybe it's your entire team of 1,000 or 5,000. A third are going to work. They're working this business. A third are doing nothing, and a third are ready to quit. They're ready to be done. Okay. So this is a business of basically averages, or it's just kind of like you're just finding people. People's lives change constantly, especially women's lives. We are having babies, kids are graduating. We're the ones who help take care of parents typically. A lot falls on our shoulders as women. And so our life situations and circumstances change a lot more than a man's, I'm going to say. Okay. So we're dealing with a lot more anyways. And then, we're adding in something like Zaya. So we are adding a little more to our lives. And so we have to keep in mind that this business isn't going to be everything to everyone all the time. Okay. So just because you want to hit executive doesn't mean that the girl you just sponsored wants to be a director. Now, maybe in 6 months, she might want to, maybe in 2 years, she'll want to, but don't treat her any less because she's not growing as fast or the way you want them to. Okay. Something that I read in the Randy Gage book that I really loved is he said to succeed at the high levels of leverage sales. So he refers to direct sales as leverage sales. You must identify and work with your leaders, regardless of what level they are on. In fact, a lot of the time when you are building depth, you will be working way below your pay range. So that basically means you're maybe not making as much on that specific line of the leg. This is the only true method to secure lines. He also said, working in depth with the people many levels deep in your organization builds security. Working in with, sponsoring more personal enrollees builds income. You need to do both to create a large passive income. And that again is by Randy Gage. So I've talked a lot about structure before, and I think sometimes we forget about what is structure? What's the point of it, right? So I've taught before that the most solid, secure director is a director backed by a director. So if somewhere on her downline, she has another director on her team, she'll most likely always hit director, as long as she's still working. If she decides to stop, guess what? There's a good chance she's no longer going to be a director for you. Same thing with junior rep, senior rep, director, senior director. If you want to hit senior director every month, you should probably work to have another senior director on your team. If you don't have a senior director on your team and there's no one that wants to be a senior director, what do? You keep sponsoring frontline people until you find someone who does, or you go in depth and you find someone who does and you work with them. Okay. So structure is basically building ranks. It's building the solid foundations of a strong business and a strong team. So let's see, I want to make sure I'm not, so it's important to build the structure in your depth as you build width and work with those who fall into the 3 W's. So I've had a lot of questions over the last week as I've been doing like one-on-one calls. I feel like all day long. By the end of the day, I was like, I'm fried. I can't do anymore. So one-on-one calls are important. You can't do them totally all the time. I did offer one-on-one calls to a select group of people on my downline who had achieved the 3x2500 to make sure that they felt supported and what would their next steps be. So that could be something that you maybe go and do. It was kind of like a prize. I don't know if they felt like it was a prize, but I was like, hey, can I call and talk to you for an hour? So that's what I did for those ladies. So what if your team is wide and there's no depth? So what would a wide and no depth team look like? Means you have an entire team of frontline. You have 10 frontline or 5 frontline, and none of them have sponsored anyone. So what would be my first thing to do if I had 10 frontline and no depth? My first step would be to find who actually wants to build a team, who wants to hit junior rep, who wants to hit senior rep. And I would go and work specifically with those people. I would not work with everyone. I would have maybe a once a week call with that person. I would give them specific goals and things to work on. I would tell them to have, parties booked. How do we close a party? What do we talk about when we're closing a party with the hostess? How do we find new customers? Okay. So your first goal, if you're just wide, is to find out who wants to grow a team so you can start getting deep. Now, let's say you are wide and you maybe go to like a level 4, like a level 3 or 4. So you've had a few girls who've been sponsoring, a few teammates who have sponsored in depth. And now what should you do? So you need to go to the most active, deepest part of that leg. So you might have someone who sells $2,000 who's a level 3 on this leg over here. And over here, you have a girl who sponsored someone, but she's sold $1,000. So who do you talk to? Ideally, you should talk to both of them. But I would probably talk to this girl more because she brought on a teammate which means she's a little more geared towards building her team and she's going to want a little more support. Now, this $2,500 girl, she might be how I was, where I could not sponsor someone, but I could sell the clothes. And it was a major mindset thing. And guess what? I had to have more coaching. I had to be talked to more. I had to kind of overcome some of my own personal issues around sponsoring. And what I realized, and this is something you can teach and train on as well, is selling or sponsoring someone, the kit, is no different than selling a pair of light and tights. If you can sell a pair of light and tights, you can sponsor someone. You can sell a starter kit. You can sell what this business and opportunity will do for someone and give to them. The minute you say, join my team, is the minute it's no longer about them and their business. So you have to make sure it's all about them. This is going to help you. This is going to allow you to be a part of our community. This is going to allow you to feel more confident. This is going to be your opportunity to get your clothes for less and to write it off on your taxes or whatever. Okay. So it's all about them. So you have to learn to sell the opportunity like it's a pair of light and tights. Okay. Let's see. So a couple other tips about what to look for in taprooting. And I hope I'm not taking Megan Batting's training because she's doing one next week when we're doing the winter training series next week, which is going to be awesome. And I'm so excited to listen to her, this training. So hopefully it's not, I don't think it will be, because this is all stuff that I've been learning over the last few months, which has been really good for me. So 1, taprooting, look for those who are selling. Okay. What is selling? You know what? Maybe it's $200, depending on what your team looks like. Maybe that $200 person has never done direct sales before, and they are truly needing some hand-holding and some guidance. So what do you help them with? Give them a third-party tool like the Victory in 60 that is a great reference for them to be able to, know how to talk to a customer or how to talk to someone about being a hostess. You always want to make sure they have a third-party tool so that you can be more hands-off and there if they really need the help. Okay. So look for those who are selling. Number 2, are they willing to learn from you? Okay. People will say they're willing to learn, but sometimes they're not. And you have to be 100% coachable and honest, especially with an upline, about what is going on in your business and in your life. Okay. If you are spending every dime you make on brand new clothes, and then you're like, well, I never made any money. Well, that's not something that I coach and teach and train on, is to buy all the new releases and to never do parties. Okay. What do I teach? Don't buy the new releases until you can utilize free and half price items, or you're able to resell those immediately. You should be booking at least 4 parties a month, if not more. Okay. There's got to be a little willingness to be coached and trained from your uplines. We have a financial vested interest in you and your business. So it does impact us when you sign up for trainings and you're spending thousands of dollars on a training program, because that is taking your time and energy. And we want to make sure that it's going to benefit you in the way that's going to build your business, right? I'm sure there's somebody out there that's going to disagree with me, and that's totally fine. But I have a very vested financial interest in what is going on with my teammates. And so it is something that is appreciated when certain things are run by an upline, like, hey, I'm deciding to do X, Y, and Z. What are your thoughts on this? I just did it this weekend with my coach. And I just said, hey, I'm looking at doing X, Y, and Z for my downline, for my team. What would you suggest? What do you think would be the best route? Because I haven't crossed this bridge before. And even if I crossed this bridge before, it is such a good idea to run it past an upline. Okay. The third thing is make sure. So the first one was look for those who are selling. Second is, are they willing to learn from you? And 3, are they wanting to grow or hit ranks? So I had a girl on my front line, and I finally just reached out to her and I was like, hey, I feel like you want to hit this rank because like, I want you to hit this rank. And I want you to know that I don't really care. I mean, I do, but I'm not like, I don't want you to feel pressure from me to hit this rank. Are you happy with where you're at? And she was like, yes, thank you for saying that. I didn't want to say anything because I love you and I appreciate you, but I'm so happy with the rank that I'm at right now. And I was like, okay, then I'm happy. Like, I'm happy that you're happy with where things are at. And that's what this business is all about, is supporting and encouraging and loving on people no matter where they're at. So now, if she was wanting to grow and she was wanting to hit a higher rank, then that's where I would be focusing a ton of my time and energy. And I still am going to focus my time and energy because there are some really strong teams and legs on that team. But for her personally, I'm not going to like be like, hey, let's aim for this promo this month, or let's hit and do 3 by 2,500 or whatever. Right. Okay. And then the third thing you want to look for is trying to get teammates. Okay. So not only should you be trying to get teammates, and at least at the very minimum doing a 1 by 1,000, but that 3 by 2,500 is so important. And this call is going really long, and I apologize. So there is something called attrition. Attrition is something that happens naturally to everything. It happens if you lay in bed and you don't ever use your body atrophies. It stops working. It stops moving. Okay. Sometimes that happens in business. Okay. People stop working, their dream changes, their why changes, their lives change, and it's just not a good fit for them. Maybe they're moving and they're stressed out of their minds. How would it make them feel to have you as an upline being like, well, you can still work because I moved and I had this? And nobody wants to hear that. They want to feel like they're supported and encouraged here. Okay. So I'm going to really challenge you to just love on your teammates no matter where they're at, and making sure that you value the relationship over everything else. Okay. And then the first person to sponsor usually gets my attention as you continue to sponsor on your front line. So I kind of jumped right there. So you have the 4 things, which is look for those who are selling. Are they willing to learn from you? Are they wanting to grow and hit ranks? Are they trying to get teammates? And if you're looking at your team, follow the sponsorship line. So follow who's sponsoring and go to that deepest part of that team. And the other thing is, leaders always identify themselves. The cream rises to the top, right? Something else that I wanted to mention that I read today that I thought was really awesome is really giving those teammates the skills to kind of what's the word? Like self-motivate, like teach themselves kind of what the next step should be. So there are questions that they can use themselves to kind of like debrief a situation. So like, let's say somebody ghosted them, or they sent a message and they didn't get a hostess. So the first question to ask yourself is, what happened? They ghosted me. What did you think, feel, and do? Well, I thought that they were my friend and it made me feel really yucky. And so I went and ate a bowl of ice cream and watched TV for the rest of the night. What do you wish you would have done differently or will do next time? Because obviously that behavior, no, don't get me wrong, like sometimes it is necessary, but every single time you get a no or you get ghosted, probably not the best way to handle a negative situation or something that doesn't go the way you want it to in your life. So what do you wish you would have done differently? Next time, I'm going to realize that my schedule is not everyone else's schedule, that I just need to send maybe an X number of messages. Once I've sent 10 messages, I'll be done and I'll walk away from my phone and I'll get back on the horse tomorrow and send another 15 and try to find more hostesses. Okay. So by kind of doing this like self-reflection or like a debriefing, it allows you to focus on what behaviors you want to start implementing in your life. I sent out something to my frontline this morning. Haley was coloring this yesterday in church and I thought it was really cute. I know these are the things that motivate me. You guys are probably laughing. She colored it and I was like, oh my gosh, that's the best saying. It says, stop saying I wish and start saying, I will. I don't know if you can even see that. So stop saying, I wish, start saying, I will. So I can't tell you how many times I have people say, I wish my team would do something. I wish I could find a hostess. I wish my husband would be more supportive. I wish my X, Y, or Z, right? And start saying, I will find more hostesses. I will work this business the way I should so I can spend the time I need to with my family. So I can focus on them when I need to and focus on my business when I need to. I will find new customers. I will work in a way that helps me to find new customers. I will be strategic, or not strategic. I will be focused when I go online and not go and scroll and get distracted by 1,000 things. So there's a lot of ways that you can reprogram yourself in your mind to help you to be kind of more laser focused on your business. So hopefully this was helpful. So I'm going to look and see if there's any questions, if there's anything you guys want to talk about. I'm going to check on Facebook, but remember the 3 W's. Is someone willing, working, and wanting? If they're not all 3 of those, you got to either keep sponsoring until you hit that or go in depth until you hit that. Okay. Let's see. Let me see. Oh, now I got to turn down my volume so I don't have to listen to myself. Okay. Nope. No questions. Okay. Anything anybody who's on live with me wants to ask? Thanks for being here, you guys. Hopefully it was helpful. Hopefully. Oh, you're welcome, Amy. She said she loves these type of trainings. I'm glad it's helpful. So I am going to give you guys just 2 more tips in being not strategic, just mindful about what you're doing with social media. Because believe it or not, these businesses actually used to run without Facebook and Instagram. I know people actually used to be successful in direct sales before TikTok. It's mind blowing. Okay. So social media, it is a fantastic tool. Only if you consume it in a way that builds you up and your business. So I want you to think about how you consume social media this week. Oh, you're welcome, Amanda. I actually need to call you, Amanda. I need to talk to you. I need to text you. I've been meaning to text you all day. So I'm going to text you. So wait for that. Sorry, little squirrel moment. When you get on social media, we are used to consuming what our environment gives us, right? We're used to consuming television. We're used to consuming TV shows and Yellowstone. And that's like the newest rage. We're used to consuming. So instead of being focused on consuming and putting out the right this or that, or like, I have to have the TikTok this to make sure I'm hitting the algorithm, think about what you're providing. Okay. Now, I'm not saying you have to post every day. What I am saying is that you do need to be making connections. We have been very reliant on social media, especially over the last 1.5 years. Social media has basically like been our crack, because for the first time, I don't know in how long, everything on social media was geared towards a home-based business. Like we could literally post and get orders. I mean, you guys, like that is not normal. Okay. I'm going to tell you that it's not normal. So now that's not happening because why? Well, people are actually out shopping, working, living life again. They're not on their phones like they were. They're not consuming the content that we're putting out there. Okay. So what are they responding to? Direct messages, you commenting on things that they've maybe gone and done. Go out and get active again. Go out and be a part of your community. Go and make some new friendships. Go and meet people. Think about the people that are around you that you wouldn't have been able to meet a year ago. Okay. So is social media amazing? Oh my gosh. Yes, it is truly incredible. You can meet someone and have them be a part of your business in your life who lives in now Australia, right? We're going to Australia, who knows when, but maybe someday, who knows? Okay. That's incredible. That wouldn't have than is likely 30 years ago. It would have been a hustle. It would have been really hard, right? So I want you to think about, what can you do within your own neighborhood? Do you know your neighbors 5 houses down? Do you know your neighbors 1 street over? Please, we're all excited about Australia. And this is actually something that Randy Gage talks about in this book. We are so excited about opening in Australia. Can we please not forget about the people that are 2 streets over from us in our own backyard, that are working out at the gym, that are going to the health shop, that are right around us, okay? Please don't underestimate the relationship side of this, okay? Social media is incredible, but don't get discouraged because it's what you've been hinging your whole business on, because so many of us joined. There's a huge influx of new reps that have joined since COVID, right? And so it's kind of the only thing that you know. So if you haven't done a home party, let's do a home party, okay? Have some people over. If you need to have people wear masks, if that's going to make you feel better, do it. If you want them to come in increments of time, do it, okay? Maybe go set up at a gym and do a pop-up, okay? Things are open again. We need to stop depending on social media and go back out into our communities and share the gift that Zaya is, okay? Now, like I said, social media is still awesome. It's still a tool, but let's not forget the other side of our business that kind of got swept under the rug over COVID over the last year and a half, okay? So love you guys. Hopefully this was helpful. It went way longer. I will have the recording. If you are listening to this on the recording, and please remind people, especially if it's a YouTube, you can click the wheel and speed up the playback, okay? You guys, I usually listen to everything at 2.0. That means it sounds like I'm listening to someone going hyper speed, but it's because I need to consume it faster. I can't listen to books at normal speed anymore. I'm can he please get to the point? So please don't listen to me back at normal speed. Listen to me at 1.5 or something faster so you can consume this and get the information a little bit faster than normal. Okay. But you guys are awesome. I don't think there's any other things that you guys have as questions. And anyways, have a great Monday. And I'm excited to see you guys next week for the winter training series. It's going to be going on all week long. It's going to be awesome. We have some incredible ladies. They're all Zaya elites or above, which means they are freaking rock stars. They're bosses. They know this business. They are some of the best teachers out there. They know their stuff. So I'll see you guys next week. Have a great one. Bye.